Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal, and this is the last of my eyeshadow declutters today, my large palettes. I've been going through a makeup declutter. I will link everything for you in the description box down below, as well as like right here in the eye in the upper left-hand corner. But I'm trying today to remind myself to only keep what brings me joy. I'm gonna try and Marie Kondo my eyeshadow collection. I don't know how it's gonna go because I love eyeshadow so much. I'm trying really hard to be good about this, but it's hard. So let me move a few things around and we'll go through it. I'm just gonna start with this stash right here. These are palettes that all of these I've had these for a while, kind of like some of them like a really long time. And I'm trying to remind myself, what have I reached for? What is actually useful and what is still inspiring to me? And I feel like it's that criteria that's going to help me whittle this down. First thing I can tell you right off the top, this can go. This is the Essence Hello Berlin. And I would say it like that. Hello Berlin. You know what? It's not bad. I'm just gonna tell you, it's not bad. I wanted to love this. This eyeshadow palette I picked up for $9.99 at Ulta. I was trying products from Essence. Is it better than anything else I have in my collection? No. Did it wear all day? No. Did it crease? Yes. Is it fabulous? No. Is it bad? No, not for drugstore, but I don't want not for drugstore, I just want good. So Hello Berlin can go. Here's one though, and this is a shame because like BH Cosmetics, I didn't really get into BH Cosmetics until right before they started having financial problems. And I think they went through bankruptcy and sold their business and I don't know what's happened to it, but this Beautiful in Barcelona is probably one of the better drugstore palettes I have ever tried. And I like the combination of kind of cooler tones, like this top row is cooler. We have some of these kind of warm tones in the middle and then the blues. And the reason I picked it up is, I don't know if you know this about me, but I've lived in Spain for 3 years, 2 years as a kid, 1 year during college. And these colors, there's a lot of beautiful blue tile work in Spain, a lot of warm and cool colors mixed together. And it just kind of reminded me of my time and I was like, yes, but I haven't used it. I think I might hang on to it for the moment just because I'm gonna try and get rid of a lot of stuff and keep what I think I might actually enjoy. And this is one of those that is, I'm gonna put it in the yes for now pile. Here's another one that I really liked when I first got and I used a lot. Oden's Eye Alva eyeshadow palette. Okay. You'll see that certain shades have had a lot of use, like this one down here and this one right here, like I have been sticking my finger in those. And this is actually another really great combo of cool and warm tones together. You got the warmth here, you have cool shades like this. I mean, it's really, really pretty. It's the only eyeshadow palette I have from Oden's Eye, so I'm gonna hang on to this. Oh. Do you remember this? This is the Desi and Katie Friendcation palette by Dose of Colors. I mean, does this not take you back in time? This is like a YouTube time machine right here. And it was these metallics, these formulas, like right here, this one, and these two. Obviously, these were the ones I used the most, but these were so pretty, but I haven't used it. The mattes were great. This palette was fantastic, but I think she's like beyond expired. Expired plus. Yeah, I think I'm gonna let this one go. But even the packaging was so beautiful and so extra. Oh, Desi and Katie, good stuff. It's been a while, but I got rid of so much of my Too Faced. I used to have the chocolate bar, the milk chocolate, the bonbons. Like I had all of those things, even the, what was the one named after the dog? Anyway, I had a ton of the palettes that came in this packaging here. And I kept this because the metallics were so good. But do you know how many times I've reached for this since I kept it in my last declutter like 15, 16 months ago? 0 times. Goodbye, Too Faced Chocolate Gold. I think I actually used the Sweet Peach once. Okay, so I prefer that this doesn't have like those long pans, like they would have like one long pan here and one long pan here. I also feel like I have these shades in other places, and although for the time this was really good stuff, I just don't think it still stands up to that. So I'm very willing to let my Sweet Peach go. I picked this Nubian 3 Coral palette up from Juvia's Place right when it launched because I was trying Juvia's Place for the first time. That was a long time ago. That was what, 2019, I think? Now, I like that we have cool tones and warm tones in here. but I feel like I have the shades that I like from here in other places, and I don't need to have this anymore. I think this was the last Juvia's Place palette that I had kept, and I just haven't reached for it since my last declutter, so I can let this go as well. Boy, I feel like I'm doing really good. Here is the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. I didn't buy this on purpose. Okay, I know that sounds weird. How do you have it if you didn't buy it on purpose? It came in a Beautylish Lucky Bag. It came in 2022, like last January. And the truth is, I don't love this palette. And I think it's not the formula, it's the color story. Because although I like this shade here, I like this row right here in the middle, I like this shade and this shade, I really don't use this quad right here. I don't use this kind of red shade right here. And these guys are really, I don't know, they're very warm for where I'm at right now. But I feel like I'm gonna hang on to it because you know what Natasha does that is so fantastic? You can take these out. So if I ever want to go through here and say, you know what, I need one really pretty khaki shade, boom, I'm gonna pop this out and create my own palette. So I'm gonna hang on to this for versatility purposes, but this is the only midi-sized palette that I have. And there are other ones that I would like more. I feel like the Glam palette I would like more. I feel like even the, was it the Retro? The one that was kind of like all blushy tones, I would like that more. And I just don't like them enough to buy them. And this one I got kind of like by luck of the draw, and it's not bad. I'm gonna hang on to it, but it's not my most used by any stretch of the imagination. Now this is one I did buy on purpose. Does she still make the Metropolis? I don't think so. I think this was a limited edition. It came out for holiday, but I love. This is one that every time I remember to open it, it is just fantastic. But this is the sort of palette that I think works really well. All the colors work well together, but for someone like me, it's a little bit difficult because like these blues to me are distracting. You know, this kind of golden yellow and this green, they're beautiful and they catch my eye, as does this kind of more cranberry shade, but I get confused. And then I start, well, what about this with that? And the next thing I know, I put on like 15 of these shades and I look like an eyeshadow disaster. So I prefer having a palette like this, and maybe I should just rearrange them, you know, because you can. I think these are all magnetic and I can pull them out and rearrange them to be easier for my eye to distinguish what I have, or maybe group them in quads, or I don't know. And I'm sure you could use these four right here, or you could use these four right here, or you could use these four, and I'm sure they're designed that way, but I open it up and all I see is like somebody dumped out all of my crayons onto the tabletop and they're in random places. And I was that kid in school who always organized them by, you know, rainbow shade, lightest to darkest. And anytime I see something like this, my eye is like, wait, what? This is hard for me, but I think I'm gonna hang on to it. I'm gonna put this in the maybe pile because I really don't use it that much, but every time I do, it's just so much fun. All right, so my maybe pile is gonna live right here. This is the one palette from Too Faced that I actually like still. And this is one I think I got in January of 2020, so I've had it for 3 years, but it's because it's neutral. And I need to like lean into what I know I like. I also like that we have a larger matte pan and a smaller metallic pan. And I feel like these are the sorts of mattes that I'm interested in. We do have a little bit of warmth here, but it's not too much. We do have some kind of pinky leaning neutrals in through here. We do get dark, but not so dark. And for my fair skin, this type of neutral palette is beautiful. It gives me options. I do wonder if like these metallics here are still like as good as they were when they first launched, because at the beginning they were fantastic, but yeah, they're feeling a little lackluster. I don't know. I'm gonna hang on to it for now, but we'll see. Last thing in here is the Tati Beauty Volume 1, and I'm so sad there was only ever a Volume 1. I really enjoyed this palette so much. This is definitely the sort of palette that works well for the way my eye flows, you know, my charcoaly darkness over here, you know, a little bit more interesting bright tones. We've got warms, we've got like lighter neutrals, really light shades, like just exactly how I want them in. All of the really glittery metallics, all of the mattes at the bottom. This made so much sense to me and exactly the way my brain works. But I'll tell you, I haven't reached for this. In the last 2 years, I haven't reached for it. And I feel like I probably would get a lot of use out of it just in here, but I never liked this sequin formula here, which is kind of like a matte with glitter suspended in it. I could never get it to look good on my eye. I always had the sparkle falling out. I felt like the metallic was good, the matte was good. These were occasional shades for me because they're glitter, but I think I'm gonna let it go. And I know there might be somebody out there going, wait, you can't get this anymore. And I never got it when it was available because it sold out. I never got my chance and you're getting rid of it? Ah, I know, but if I hang on to everything, I'm never really gonna get good use out of what I have. So I can let somebody else in my family love this for me. Here's the next batch. I think this is gonna be easy. Let's start here. I kept this because I was sure I was gonna use it and I haven't since my last declutter. Is it a bad palette? No. Do I reach for it? No. My favorite shades in here are this one here, Earth Shine, and this one here called Sandman, or Mr. Sandman. I really feel like they're like the really unique, like pretty duochrome types of shades. They're just really pretty, but I don't want to keep a whole palette just for that. And I don't want to pull them out because I feel like then nobody else would really be able to love this. If you love purple, and I got this because I wanted to love purple, I just never used it. So I can let the It's My Pleasure go. Here's another one that I held on to because I was sure I was going to use it. The truth is, I just kind of fell out of love with ColourPop. There's very little from ColourPop that I still love. Now, this is a really great eyeshadow palette if you like neutrals and you are looking for something that's affordable. It is good quality. I just feel like I like other things better. And I have all of these shades in other places with formulas that I appreciate a little bit more. So I'm gonna let somebody else in my family love Going Coconuts. I think this was my first instant look in a palette. Yes, from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Beauty Glow. I don't know if she still makes this type of product, or if she does she make this shade? But this is one of those I don't use all the time, but when I'm in a hurry, a product like this is perfect because I have bronzer, I have highlight, I have blush in the middle, and 3 eyeshadows. And the one thing that I love about Charlotte's eyeshadow formula is that the metallics never make my eyes look older than they are. There are some that turn me into like 1,000-year-old lizard person skin, and these are gorgeous. I really like this. This one, I'm gonna hang on to. I don't even think Charlotte makes this anymore. This is a face palette. I forgot to do this when I was doing face products, but this is the Glowgasm, and I really, obviously it's gotten a lot of use. I really like this. I think that if I were to pull this out, especially now that we're hitting springtime, yeah, a lot of glow, a lot of pinky peachy glow, yeah. Love. Here is another instant look in a palette. This is the Gorgeous Glowing Beauty. This was a holiday release, and this came in a Beautylish Lucky Bag. I also love this one. I feel like this shade's a little warmer than I would normally use for bronzer, but I love the highlight, I love the blush. Sometimes I use this as eyeshadow, but I have used it on the face as well. And this color story up here, so easy, especially for a work day. When I gotta go, a product like this is fabulous. And I really do like the quality of it. This is where I'll tell you that these normally, well, I don't know what they cost anymore, but when I was buying these, they were running for about $75. And I feel like that's a good price for like a palette. If you're a simplified person, you want one thing that's going to do a lot of different things for you. A palette like this is great. The quality is good, but $75 is a lot. But you know, at least the packaging is fabulous. I'm going to hang on to this. This right here is an eyeshadow palette from I don't know how many holidays ago from Charlotte Tilbury. And this, I should probably get rid of this, but I love this palette. I don't really reach for it enough, but the reason that I like this is that this was, I think, the first time she started doing 12 eyeshadows in a pan, and then they started getting like longer packaging and the rectangles were longer and thinner and kind of going vertically as opposed to horizontally. Packaging aside, I'll tell you, I really liked all of these. I feel like the satins in here, I mean, look, they're still beautiful and buttery. Oh man, I like this palette right here better than the quads I have from Charlotte. But I've had it forever. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna let it go. Oh, that's hard. This is a JCat 15 pan palette, the Tri-Element palette. This is the Ay Noche. I think this one here is basically, yeah, this is the Noche palette. But I picked this up because I heard Andrea Mattiliano talking about how great it was. And the truth is, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad. But then again, it's like for the drugstore. I would much rather use the Charlotte Tilbury palette I just got rid of than to hang on to this. Now, are these bad? No, but I don't live for these. So I am still waiting to find something from the drugstore that I love so much that I can't stop raving about. And the only thing I can think of are the Flower Beauty Desert Lights and Jungle Lights. Nothing else. If you know of a really great palette that has excellent quality eyeshadows, please, please, please let me know. Because I feel like every time I try something, it's just like, it's okay. But it doesn't blow my socks off. And I'm waiting for my socks to be blown off. Let me know. This Huda Beauty palette, I think is the only one I have from the brand. You know what's funny is that I never was like, I'm not buying that. I don't wear things like that. And the truth is, I love this so much. I picked this up last spring during the Sephora VIB sale, and I have used it so much. I feel like if I have fewer things in my collection, I'll reach for stuff like this a little bit more, but I really, really like this. There are some shades in here like this one that I don't use that much, but I use this half of the palette here a ton. I don't really use these pinky shades here, but I use just about everything else. I think there's maybe like 3 shades in here that I'm like, yeah. But I really like this one. I feel like the quality is really good, and it kind of makes me curious what else is good eyeshadow wise from Huda. All right, so the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions Rose 2 palette. I love, 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 love everything about this. I love that we have like a little plastic window so we don't get any powder or like metallic parts in our cream shadows. These guys right here across the top, the best. And it looks like I haven't really used these because you can still see the TP imprinted in the mattes super easily. You just don't need a lot. Like you barely tap in and it's like perfection. This is another one that I almost picked this up during the Sephora VIB last spring and I didn't. And then I went in store and swatched it after the sale was over and I was like, wait, what? And I couldn't leave the store without it. I mean, it's really good. I didn't pick up the first one, the bronze one. I'm not that interested in that one. This one is definitely more up my alley, but you're still getting warmth and bronze in through here. I hope that he comes out with more, but this is fabulous. This isn't going anywhere. This is a palette from Lancome. This came in their holiday box, their gift box, and it's basically a purchase with purchase where you spend, I think, $45 and then you can, for an additional, what was it, $69 or $75, buy an additional like gift bag full of things: skincare, makeup, lipstick, gloss, and this palette. This palette is not just an eyeshadow palette. It has these 12 shades in here, but it also has an entire pull-out tray at the bottom with these face. You know what? These are all nice. Do I reach for these constantly? No. I think there might be somebody else in my family who would like this better. And I feel like these are perfect for like an everyday makeup look, but they're not exciting and inspiring. And although I do like the Lancome eyeshadow formula better than the other holiday offering I did this year, which was the Beauty Blockbuster from Estee Lauder. I hate those eyeshadows. I'm not going to keep it. This can go to somebody else. This is my Soul Pat McGrath Mothership palette. And I think this is the, oops, it's upside down. I think this is the one in Sublime, the one with the bright green. Okay, here's the thing. When these first came out years ago, I think it was 2017 when these came out. It was like November, December, I don't remember when it was. When these debuted, I went gaga. And I couldn't decide if I wanted, you know, the one that was kind of cooler tones with the blue, or if I wanted this one. And the truth is, I almost never reach for it. And I keep saving it thinking, I'm gonna use it, and I don't. Okay, so I'm just gonna swirl my fingers in here and see if any of these are like, whoa. Man, these are so, oh, they're so pretty. And this is when I'm kicking myself, why am I not using these? I don't know, especially like this one right here. Oh, so pretty, so pretty. I also feel like the rest of the palette, man, I think I'm gonna hang on to this for now. But I don't wanna hang on to it and not use it, because the last time I did a declutter, I kept this, but I think I've only used it once. So I'm gonna put it in my everyday makeup drawer and we're gonna use her because she deserves to be used. All right, these are all kind of together because they're kind of the same size. Most of these are ABH, and then there's this. This is a kind of a best of from the Balm. I have always loved this palette, but the truth is I haven't really been reaching for it. Some of my favorite shades are in here. I love this shade here from the, which one was this? The Rockstar palette, the Balm Jovi palette, yes. And then we have shades from Meet Matte Nude, Meet Matte, this is like a Matador palette. I used to have all of these palettes and I don't anymore. Mary Luminizer, and then some of the old like best of down at the bottom. I loved the In-Stain blushes and I really liked these guys. I feel like I used Frat Boy. I went through an entire Frat Boy. I just haven't reached for this. Now I know like my daughter would love this because you have 3 blush options, you have a bronzer, you have shades that would look beautiful on her blue eyes. I think I'm gonna give this to my daughter. She's gonna love this. But I wish that the Balm still did packaging like this. I know that they have quit doing magnetic closures and quit putting mirrors in things, but this was like the perfect type of like best of palette for me. And I really loved this. All right, ABH, let's talk about it. Oh, look at all these guys here. So, I think it's time to let Norvina go. I loved this when it first came out, and you can see mine just got so much use. Like, I actually hit pan in a shade. I can't tell you the last time I hit pan in anything. But I haven't reached for this in probably 2 years. This can probably safely go. I love the Jackie Aina palette. This one here brings me joy. Even though it has shades in here that I normally don't reach for, like I've never reached for Big Wig or Shookington, but I've used the rest of these. And sometimes it's like shades like this one here in Sponsored, or this one here in Dwellers that just like, what? Love, 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 love. I'm gonna hang on to this one. Oh, love this. This is the Nouveau palette. She's so pretty. And I love that they're coming out with packaging like this now. Yes, the only thing I don't like is that you'll notice that mine is like broken right here. It actually all came apart. This whole piece here had like lifted and I had to glue it down. Like I had to fix my own packaging. But I liked being able to bend things back like this. Maybe it wasn't meant to do that, but that's how I use it. I really like this. I feel like this is the perfect color story for someone like me with fair skin. The shades I don't use are this one here in Metro. I rarely use Peacock, and that's it. I love the rest of it. I really feel like this is a lovely palette for me. Oh, and I don't use Wisteria. So I guess there's 3 in here, but I really like this palette. I think it's nice. The quality is good, and I need to pull this out for spring. Definitely. All right. I don't know. I think I'm gonna hang on to Soft Glam because I have used this a couple times in the last year. I put it in for a monthly makeup bin and I actually really liked it. I was reaching for this Mulberry shade. I love this one in Dusty Rose. I don't always go for this like warm center bottom row here, but I like the metallics in here and I feel like it can turn a really pretty look. And this is the sort of color story that works well for me without getting too dark. If I do want some depth, I do have the Noir shade down there, but I rarely reach for it. Rarely. And I know they don't make this one anymore. Sometimes I think it did come out once again, like at the holidays. Like it came out originally, it was limited edition, and then you couldn't find it anywhere, and then it started popping up at TJ Maxx, and then like a year or 2 later they brought it back as like another limited edition holiday thing. But is it still like good, or has it lost its amazingness? Let's see, because that would be like the deciding factor. Ooh. Oh yeah, it's still looking good. Let's try the mattes. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, please. And I think this is just a reminder to me to use this, but I do like that it's a cooler palette. There's not, I mean, there is some warmth in here, but it is decidedly cooler. And that's really what I'm liking right now. And I think I need to reach for this because she's pretty. Oh my goodness. I love my Sydney Grace palettes. I love these so much. All right, I'm not just gonna tell you now, I'm not getting rid of any of these, but let me just show them to you quickly. This right here is one of my favorites. This is the Coffee Talk palette. This one comes in a light as well as a deep, which means that some shades like this and this will be deeper shades. And sometimes they'll have a little bit more depth in here. But I love that they give you light and deep options because that really makes this color story inclusive for so many people, depending on what you feel suits your skin tone best. But love, so much fun. This is one, like if I were to get rid of any of them, it might be the Chase Your Dreams palette. And what I might do with this is instead of getting rid of it, is to pull out everything in here because every single one of these is magnetic, meaning that it's not glued in. There's a magnet underneath here holding this pan in. And if I hold a magnet over the top, I can pull these all out and I might put these in my eyeshadow singles. I did that with the Sweet Talk palette because I never used it as like a palette as a whole, but there were shades in there that I do use, like the mattes and a couple of the metallics. I might do that with this, but I'm not getting rid of this. This is a beautiful palette, but this is more your sunset or sunrise eyeshadow palette, and that's definitely not a look that I tend to do a lot. And then again, you know, purple. This is like my I want to, but this is Summer Days. Summer Days is like my perfect, again, another one that comes in a light and a deep, but this is the light version. I love it. I mean, she's so pretty. I've got, you know, some cooler tones in through here, some warmer tones, really pretty metallics. Love, 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 love. And this shade here in Cherry Picking, oh my goodness, it's so good. Love this. Here's the one I was sure was like, wait, what? This was a bonus during last year's Christmas and July sale. And I was like, no, because like these two shades here, but this is the only one that I don't wear. I love Sunflower and Primrose together. I even use Buttercup. Like I'm like, wait, who am I? I'm always saying I don't like warm tones, but I really love this palette and it works so well with everything in here. I wore this so much last summer. I'm glad that spring is here and I'm starting to think about more colorful looks. I will definitely reach into things, but like this one right here, oh, stunning, love. This started out as a 9-pan bundle and then they released it in palette form and I love it, the Mountain Trail. Okay, so if you like golds and like mossy woody greens, this is for you. This is probably my favorite green palette of all time. And like, it's incredible. Let me just like show you how amazeballs. I mean, look how pretty are these shades. Love this. Love this so much. And this is the palette that made me realize that, yeah, I do look good in green eyeshadows. It just is not like cool greens. It has to be a little bit warmer with a little bit of yellow in there to kind of warm it up. These are fantastic and I love, love, love the Mountain Trail. This last palette is the California Coast palette. This was new for 2022. It was one of those that you can buy by itself, but they were giving it out free as part of their gift with purchase during their Christmas and July sale. I think that California Coast comes in a light and a deep. I could be wrong, but I love this palette. It definitely has a more decidedly kind of rosy tone to it, like this and this, but these mattes in through here, they're so good. La Jolla Shores is good. I love Santa Cruz. I love Half Moon Bay. Like I love all of this. And cherry on top for me is the fact that I was born and raised in California and I've been to all of these locations and every time I open it up, it just reminds me of being a kid and being at the beach. Love. Here's one I never thought I was going to get, but I love, like, do you see how messy it is down here? Love this shade, but I love all of these. This is the On the Horizons light palette. This also comes in a deep version, so it would look better on people with richer skin tones, but I love that, again, light and deep shades. A lot of the shades are gonna be the same. I think things like Heart Dog or Infinite Echoes or October Odyssey are going to be the ones that are a little bit different, maybe a little bit richer, a little bit darker. They won't appear ashy on somebody with a richer skin tone, but I didn't think I was going to love this palette, but this is like screaming like spring looks at me. So excited. I might actually wear this for work tomorrow. Yeah, this is fabulous. This is probably my all-time favorite Sydney Grace palette. This is another one of those palettes that comes in a light and a deep. This is the Enduring Love. They don't make this metal packaging anymore. It now comes in cardboard packaging, and I think they moved from square pans to round pans recently. But I love, you can see I've been all over this. Some of these have a real, like this has a real significant divot in it, as does this shade and this shade here. I don't know why, but like those shades are always calling to me. Devotion especially, like, dude, I burned through that. I love this. And I think that if you like neutrals, but you like a few colorful options, this is the perfect place to start if you don't know Sydney Grace. But this is definitely one that I recommend because it's kind of a neutral with some pops. But the quality is just astounding. This palette, I think they keep restocking it every now and again. This was a collaboration with Mel Thompson. And I'm sad to say Mel passed away, but this palette is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. You have a wide variety of tones in here. I like that we have some kind of dark anchoring sort of mattes down here. We have some really beautiful like metallic shades that are just off the hook. And then you have some really interesting like kind of more pastel-y shades, things like this that make this so interesting. If you want to go kind of like dark and plummy, you can do that. We've got a nice duochrome in here. Like, this is a wildly creative palette and I love, love, love it. This does all the things. Love this. So I know Sydney Grace is coming out with new palettes for this spring and I can't wait. But this was last year's January palette. This is another one that comes in a light and a dark, and this is the Be Mine palette. I don't use this one as much as like the Enduring Love or the Tiny Marvels, but I love it. This one is also one where if I were to, you know, hover a magnet over these, I could pull each of these out and rearrange them. Or maybe I need a color that's like this one for a look I want to do in a palette that's all magnetic singles. I could pull that one out, put it back in the end. That's what I love. You can do that with every single one of the ones from Sydney Grace. They're removable. And I just write the names on the back so I know where they go when I'm done with them. But I build my own palettes and I love that about Sydney Grace. But this one is fantastic. These are the last ones. This is one of my favorite, most used palettes, especially for work. This is the Side by Side Nude palette from Nabla. I mean, yeah, this is like a testament to how much I use it. Like, it's messed up, it's dirty. Like, I just grind in there and swipe it on my eye. I really like this. I feel like these sorts of kind of darker but slightly cooler shades I use a lot. I love this one paired with this one down here. I like that we have warmth. I like that we have cool. I like that we have neutrals. Like, everything about this is fabulous. Love, love, love. This one, and I feel like the Identity from Persona are two of my favorite non-Sydney Grace nude palettes. This is the Grande Pro Volume 3 from Viseart. This is not one that I ever would have purchased on my own because, look, it's a rainbow. But you know what's funny? I've actually used almost all of these shades. I haven't worn either of these shades here or this pink. And I don't know that I've worn this teal shade here, or I have worn this actually. I think those are the only shades I haven't worn. Now, this is great because like all Viseart palettes, these guys are removable. So if I wanted to build a look and I needed a color that I didn't have anywhere else, I could, you know, take this pink, I could take this blue. My favorite thing about this that I do a lot in the springtime is I'll use these lighter kind of pastel-y shades down here at the bottom and then pull in something a little bit more. I've done like a whole yellow eye with this. I do love these shades here, and even these kind of more Easter egg washed out kind of blues are fantastic. I'm gonna hang on to this for its versatility, but truly this is one of those eyeshadow products that if it hadn't come to me in a lucky bag, I never in a million years would have paid the, what is it, $169 for something like this? No, never would have done it, but it does really come in useful. This is the Holy Grail palette from Violet Voss. I've had this for such a long time. I have always liked this palette. I feel like, you know, we get a lot in here. It's mostly warm leaning. I think it's all warm leaning when I think about it, but I just don't use it anymore. This is one of those that I liked it, and then I feel like trends have changed, and you can still get a totally gorgeous eye look out of this. I'm just not reaching for this, so I'm gonna let this one go. Last one here is so big. This is the biggest palette I have right now. This is the Two Moods from Gimme Glow. All right, this is the palette that made me fall in love with their pressed pigments because these guys are beyond They are like so gorgeous. But I did learn that I can't just swipe these on the eye. I need to do my eyes first and then put my face makeup on because these have a lot of glitter fallout. I also realized that if I'm gonna wear these, I must use an eyeshadow primer. I also discovered that the mattes in this from this brand are a little dustier than I'm used to, and I feel like it doesn't take much for me to, you know, like just tap in and like you get a lot of kick up. And it's not just that one, and if you just even go a little bit lighter, you're still getting a ton of product kicking up in the pan. That means that they blend beautifully with no effort. But this right here is why I have to do my eyes first, because if I don't do my eyes first, I get all of this, even the mattes. It's not just the more metallic pigments, everything gives me fallout under the eye. So this is one that takes planning for me. I really like it, and I find that I love this quad here, and I love this quad here. I like some of the shades up here. I tend to reach for this one and this one, sometimes this one, but I don't really use the peach ones. And I don't know whether that's because I'm not in a peach moment or whether these are like a little too bright for me, because I don't know. Maybe I just need to get over it and try it. But it feels like a very, do you see what I'm saying? Very colorful look, but there's a lot of product fallout. I'm keeping these 29 eyeshadow palettes. I feel like I did pretty good. Before I had like 3 bins, one large one like this and 2 smaller ones, and the fact that everything can fit in this one big bin, I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm keeping 29 and I'm getting rid of these 14 eyeshadow palettes. I feel like I'm not even gonna miss these. And at that point, if I'm not even gonna miss them, why did I still have them around? Dude, okay, I feel so much better about this. I feel like everything fitting in one bin and being the sort of thing that makes me happy and excited to reach for. I'm gonna miss this, but I haven't reached for it. I haven't reached for it. Same with the Violet Voss. I feel like the Tati Beauty is a moment in beauty YouTube time, and I'm just like, it's okay, I can let it go. And these old, you know, Too Faced palettes that come in the metal packaging, and even like when like ColourPop started putting out their monochromatic 9 pans, like these are all a moment, but I'm past that. And I don't want to hang on to stuff that's not bringing me joy, that I'm not using. And I want to keep a more carefully curated collection. Thank you so much for watching today. I would love to know, do you have a large beauty collection? If you do, how do you manage it? Do you rotate through things so that you don't ever have things that kind of get shoved to the back and don't get used? Because like some things in here I just haven't touched in a long time. And then are there things that even though, you know, you can't get anymore, are they still your favorites? Things that are from many moons ago and were really popular at the time, are they still calling to you for your daily use? Let me know what your thoughts are on a larger makeup collection or eyeshadows in general in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon.